Everyone told me that walking 10,000 steps a day would change my life. I heard it everywhere. But what actually happens when you do it for 90 days straight? Here's the truth about what it did to my body, my mind, and even my wallet. So, let's start at day 0. Before this whole experiment, I was averaging about 2,300 steps a day. Yeah, that's basically the apartment, to the car, to my desk, back to the car, and then straight to the couch lifestyle. I felt sluggish, my energy was low, and honestly, I just felt like garbage most of the time. I knew something had to change. So, I made a deal with myself. 90 days of 10,000 steps. No excuses, no matter what. The first month, days 1 through 30, was pure struggle. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The first week was just pain. My feet were sore, my legs ached in places I didn't know existed, and I was getting blisters. The second week was just me asking myself, why am I doing this? It felt like a chore. I had to force myself out of bed in the dark, sometimes walk in the rain, and figure out how to squeeze an extra hour and a half of walking into my already busy schedule. On day 12, I came so close to quitting. I was tired, frustrated, and the scale hadn't budged. I remember sitting on my floor, shoes half in, seriously thinking, this is pointless. But I pushed through, telling myself, just one more day. By the third week, something funny happened. It started to feel less like a chore and more like a habit. It was still hard, but it was becoming a non-negotiable part of my day. I'd just get up and go, almost on autopilot. I was learning to manage my time better, breaking up my walks into smaller chunks throughout the day if I had to. It wasn't fun yet, but it was becoming manageable. Then, around day 30, I noticed the first real changes. It started subtly. I stepped on the scale and saw I was down 4 pounds. And the crazy part, I hadn't changed my diet at all. I was still eating the same things, just the walking was making a difference. But the bigger shock was my sleep. I use a tracker, and my average sleep went from a restless 6 hours a night to a solid 7.5. I was waking up feeling genuinely rested for the first time in years. But honestly, the biggest change wasn't on the scale or on my sleep app. It was in my mind. The constant brain fog I lived with started to clear. I felt a little sharper, a little more optimistic. Something was definitely shifting. Entering the second month, days 31 through 60, the entire experience transformed. The struggle turned into momentum. Walking was no longer a chore I had to force myself to do. It became something I looked forward to. It became my therapy session. If I was stressed from work or feeling anxious, I'd go for a walk, and by the end, the problem felt smaller, more manageable. It became my moving meditation. I'd put on a podcast or just listen to the sounds of the city, and my mind would just wander. My best ideas, the most creative solutions for work, they all started coming to me during these walks. It was like my brain finally had the space to breathe. I started exploring new parks, new neighborhoods, watching the seasons change. It felt less like an exercise and more like an adventure. I was addicted, but in the best possible way. The final stretch, days 61 to 90, was where the real transformation happened. This is where the power of the compound effect hit me full force. All those individual days of walking started adding up into something incredible. My energy levels were through the roof. That 3 p.m. slump that used to require a huge coffee, gone. I noticed my skin was clearer, and people started commenting that I looked healthier. Looking in the mirror, my body composition had changed in ways the scale couldn't show. I was leaner, more toned. By the end of the 90 days, I had lost a total of 11 pounds. My doctor's visit confirmed my blood pressure had dropped into the ideal range. My resting heart rate was lower. But here's the unexpected bonus. I checked my bank account and realized I had saved over $200 a month. I wasn't paying for a gym membership I never used, and because I was less stressed, I wasn't stress eating or ordering expensive takeout nearly as much. But looking back on these 90 days, the most profound lesson wasn't about the weight loss or the step count. It was never really about the 10,000 steps. It was about proving to myself that I could show up. It was about the promise I made to myself and the discipline of keeping it, day after day. It taught me that small, consistent actions create massive results over time. It's not about intensity, it's about consistency. It's about that one small step, repeated, that ultimately carries you to the mountaintop. That's the real secret. That's what truly changed my life. So now, I want to challenge you. Not for 90 days. Let's start smaller. Your turn. Just commit to 10,000 steps a day. starting tomorrow. If you're ready to do this, to prove to yourself that you can, I want you to comment "I'm in" right down below. And don't do it alone. Tag a friend in your comment to keep you accountable. Let's build a community and do this together. If you want to follow along on this journey and see more experiments like this, make sure you subscribe to this channel. I'm on a mission to test what works, what's just hype, and what actually changes your life. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next one, because it's going to be a wild one. And seriously, go drop "I'm in" the comments right now. Let's do this together. Thanks for watching.